Hey everyone! Today, I want to share 4 heartwarming stories that highlight the incredible kindness we can find in unexpected places. From a stranger buying a coffee at Circle K on a tough day to a heartfelt letter that made a nutritionist ugly cry, these moments remind us of the power of connection. We'll also hear about a janitor's generous Christmas gift and a surprising act of kindness during the move to a new country. So grab a cozy drink, and let's dive into these uplifting tales together. After a horrible day, a stranger bought me coffee at Circle K recently. I went to Walmart to do some shopping and to grab a money order to pay next month's rent, and it turned out that I screwed up and had bought too much food and was $10 off from paying for the money order. I'm a very anxious person. I am recovering from agoraphobia, and I had a pretty severe infection that I was only on day 2 of antibiotics for, so I felt awful, and I just broke down when I was at the money counter and she told me my card was rejected. Bless her heart, she was polite and trying to be helpful, but I was just tired and scared and upset at myself. When I tried to leave, I crashed into a gift card display and then just broke down entirely, sobbing with my face in my hands. I left after that, found somewhere to sit down and sob for a while before I left the store. The bus stop I needed to be at to head home is right in front of the Circle K, and it was freezing, so I ducked inside. I was kind of considering putting some coins together to get a coffee or a tiny soda, went over to the coffee counter and then another man came in and started getting coffee. I thought I was in his way and felt bad for standing there on my phone, so I apologized for being in his way and remarked I was looking in the Circle K app to see if they had any freebies, and when I said that, he asked me if I needed money to buy coffee. I almost started crying again right there in the store, and I got all teary and told him that would help a lot. He handed over the money without hesitation, and I got a coffee. I mixed some house blend with another kind I forgot, and put about 1,000,000 creamers in it. It was good. I felt really embarrassed about the whole thing, but in retrospect, I'm very thankful. He didn't have to do that. It means a lot to me. It's easy to feel very alone in this world, so it's really nice to be reminded people care, even if they're strangers. Reddit inspired me to try sending a nice letter to my nutritionist, and she told me she ugly cried because of how much she needed to hear it. This subreddit came up as recommended while I was scrolling before bed last night, and I ended up binging through the stories and being inspired by all the kind people here. I wanted to try to do something kind today, and I had an appointment with a nutritionist I recently started working with who has been absolutely incredible. She let me know we'd need to skip next week, and while chatting after the session, she shared that she is going through a very challenging time at home. I left the session and felt so bad for what she's going through. I thought of what a kind, intelligent, and hard-working woman she is and how I empathized with what she was facing at home but felt confident that she could get through it. I had a moment of wondering if I should tell her how I felt but immediately dismissed it for fear of looking silly or accidentally making her uncomfortable. Then I thought about all of the people I read about here and how they didn't let their nerves or busy lives stop them from extending kindness to complete strangers, and I felt inspired to try something small. It's nothing like the big acts I've seen here. I didn't go out of my way to mail someone's wallet home or find someone's dog or comfort someone's baby. All I did was spend a few minutes writing out a letter describing the ways I'd seen my nutritionist exemplify her empathy, intelligence, critical thinking, kindness, and commitment to helping others. I explained how I knew that the support she really needed was from her loved ones but that, as a client, I considered her an expert on the topic of listening to her body and making the right decisions for long-term well-being, and that if anyone should trust their gut and believe in themselves, it was her. I sent it, floundered for a bit, imagined her letting me know I made her feel uncomfortable or, more realistically, sending an awkward but polite dismissal and reminder to keep things professional. Then I forgot about it for the rest of the workday. I just received a reply from her where she let me know that she broke down ugly crying because of how much she needed some kindness and validation today. She shared a little more about how much she'd been struggling and how much it meant that I listened to my own gut and sent my message. I would have never thought that a few words from a new client could have any type of impact like that, and I had no idea how hard things were for her behind her bubbly and professional appearance. Thank you guys so much for this community, for this reminder of how much little acts can help, and for this push to not hold back from reaching out to others for fear of looking silly. I'm not going to go around bombarding strangers with long letters, but I will try to make a habit of extending more acts of kindness to those around me.
Chaotic good and the janitor's generous Christmas gift. When I was young, one of my first jobs was as an intern in a 35-person department. There was one janitor, and this janitor was the absolute nicest lady you've ever met. I'll call her Abby. On Christmas, they would collect donations for Abby and present her the gift card during the holiday party. My first year there, she got $350 and was so thankful she was brought to tears. I later found out her daughter's family had fallen on hard times, and that money went to pay bills and buy grandchildren gifts. She didn't even spend it on herself. I ended up getting a job there. The next year, the same thing happened. You could tell she was excited when she opened the card, but this time it was only $175, and you could see her deflate a little as she politely thanked everyone. I vowed right there, never again. Abby deserves the best. So I made a plan. My counterpart at work made an absolute boatload of money. I'll call him Mike. I knew this because we were friends, and he spoke about his personal life quite a bit. I also knew that he was a proud Christian who liked to set an example for others. So next Christmas, I challenged him. If I can afford to put money in the pot for Abby, surely he could match it. He knew I was paid a lot less than him. He knew I was a godless atheist. Surely if I could, he should. So I mustered up $60, a good sum for me at the time, but I didn't put it in the collection. I gave it directly to him. I told him to add his own and give it to the collection. This meant the money was physically in his pocket. Having the money on him meant that he couldn't forget about it. He couldn't trick himself into thinking I gave any less than what I did. It also weighed on his mind because at the very least, he needed to give my money to the pot. He needed to physically do something now. That year, Abby got a lot more. Over the next few years, I gave more and more. Abby ended up retiring, and so did Mike a few years later. The person who did the collection ended up thanking me personally for all the money you and Mike gave to Abby. Come to find out, Mike wasn't just matching me, he was doubling it. And when he turned it in, he told her it was from both of us, even though it was always 2/3 him. So I manipulated someone to do a good thing to help a good person in a way that didn't hurt the manipulee in any way. Classic chaotic good.
I've moved to another country, and I'm staying in a hostel. When asked to move rooms, I was offered another mattress. I've been homeless in the USA several times. Every time, I was treated like a bare step above a criminal. The volunteers and even employees at homeless shelters are typically controlling and cruel. Beds often consist of very painful cots or blow-up mattresses, also painful for my back. Here in the country I'm immigrating to, the beds are bunk beds with 7-inch mattresses. They're fine for most people, I'm sure, but would be murder for my sensitive back. The first night, I slept extremely well because I hadn't slept in 38 hours. But when I woke, I thought I would be in pain. I wasn't. I then realized there were 2 mattresses on my bed. I thought I was lucky. I got 2 mattresses, they forgot to remove one, yay. Yesterday, they moved us to a different room. The lady showed us the room and then, to my surprise, asked me, "You need another mattress, yes?" I was shocked. I realized then that it wasn't a mistake. The immigration agency had told them about my painful back, and their response was to help me, not to enjoy my suffering. As someone said in their post about someone yesterday, no kidding, ugly cried. It's no small thing to me. When my back starts to hurt, it compounds, and my stays in shelters in the USA often reached a point where I had to roll out of the bed because my muscles would spasm until I sat upright for a while. Every morning was torture there, but here it feels like normal, which is to say it's chronic, but livable. She remembered and offered, and it was never an accident. Meh, crying again, LOL. Sometimes what you think is small can be huge for the other person.